Hey everyone, welcome to Motion English Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, just so you know, we drop a brand new English lesson every single day to help you get better at English faster and with less stress. In today's lesson, we're not just working on your listening, we're also going to build your speaking confidence. This is a big one, 100 real, everyday English conversations that will help you talk naturally and comfortably in all kinds of situations. These conversations come straight from daily life, so you'll pick up on how native speakers actually talk, how their sentences connect, and phrases you can start using right away to sound more fluent. Whether you're chatting with friends, ordering food, asking someone for directions, talking at your job, or just making small talk with a stranger, you'll walk away from this video knowing exactly what to say. By the time we finish, you'll feel a lot more ready to jump into real English situations without freezing up. Along the way, I'll throw in some tips and quick practice drills so your brain gets used to reacting fast in English. Before we jump in, hit subscribe and tap that notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily lessons here at Motion English Podcast. Okay, grab something to write with and let's get going. We'll start with some easy but really useful conversations you'll run into all the time. Meeting a friend in the morning. Picture running into a friend early in the day. You could open with something warm like, "Hey Sarah, how's your morning going?" She might answer, "Pretty good, thanks for asking. And you?" You could say, "Doing well, did you get enough sleep?" And she might reply, "Yeah, actually, I turned in early last night, so I feel refreshed." These tiny exchanges look basic, but this is genuinely how most real conversations kick off. They make the other person feel at ease, and they're a great chance to practice your rhythm and tone. When you rehearse this, focus on keeping your voice smooth, not rushed, and try to match that light, friendly energy native speakers use. Run through it a few times until it feels effortless. Let's build on that with a topic that comes up all the time in the morning, your plans for the day. Your friend might ask, "So, what's on your schedule today?" You could answer, "I've got a work meeting this morning, then I'm grabbing lunch with a client." Or if you're off, you might say, "Honestly, I'm just gonna chill, maybe read something and catch a movie later." Little details like these bring your conversation to life. Practice them like you're really talking to someone standing right in front of you, and try answering without overthinking it. Here's a quick drill. Imagine you bump into someone at a coffee shop. Open with a greeting, ask how they're doing, and share your plan for the day. For example, "Morning, Alex, how's it going?" Then when they respond, continue with something like, "I'm hoping to wrap up some work later, but right now I'm just enjoying my coffee." Keep it short and real. Say it out loud 5 times, adding a bit more confidence each round. This trains your brain to build sentences quickly instead of translating from your native language first. Ordering at a coffee shop. Another everyday moment is ordering coffee. Say you walk in and the barista greets you with, "Morning, what can I get started for you?" You might answer, "Hi, could I get a medium latte, please?" If you want something extra, add, "And can I also grab a blueberry muffin?" They might say, "Sure thing, anything else?" And you reply, "Nope, that's everything, thanks." They'll probably ask, "For here or to go?" And you answer, "To go, please." This kind of back and forth is brief but incredibly common, so it's worth practicing until it feels automatic. Let's practice it together. I'll play the barista. "Morning, what can I get started for you?" Now respond with your order in one smooth sentence without too many pauses. Then I'll ask, "Anything else?" And you can add something or simply say, "That's all, thanks." Try this 3 or 4 times, switching up your order. Tea instead of coffee, a sandwich instead of a muffin. Varying your answers builds flexibility in your speaking. Small talk while you wait. While you're waiting for your order, you might make a quick comment like, "Nice day out today, huh?" Or "Looks like rain later." The other person might answer, "Yeah, it's gorgeous this morning," or "I heard it's supposed to rain this afternoon." These little weather comments are common because they're a safe way to open a conversation with someone you don't know. Practice saying one naturally with a relaxed tone, something like, "Such a sunny day," said slowly with a smile in your voice. Asking for directions. Now imagine you're new in town and trying to find the train station. You could stop someone and say, "Excuse me, do you know how to get to the train station?" They might answer, "Sure, go straight 2 blocks, then turn left, and it'll be on your right." You'd respond, "Thanks so much, I really appreciate it." Polite phrases like these make you sound respectful and fluent. Practice this with different locations. Swap train station for supermarket, library, or museum. Keep your tone warm and polite. Here's a mini role play. You're in an unfamiliar city looking for the nearest bus stop. Start with, "Excuse me, could you point me toward the bus stop?" I'll answer, "Sure, just head down this street. It's right by the post office." You reply, "Thank you very much." Repeat this 3 times with a different location each time: a pharmacy, a park, a mall. This builds comfort with one of the most useful conversation patterns in English. Introducing yourself. This can happen anywhere, at work, a party, even at a bus stop. You might say, "Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you." The other person might reply, "Nice to meet you too. I'm Maria." You could follow with, "Where are you from?" or "What do you do?" These are classic first meeting questions. Practice saying your name, asking 1 or 2 simple questions, and reacting naturally to their answer. Try, "Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you." Then, "Where are you from?" After imagining their answer, respond with something like, "Oh, that's interesting," or "I've always wanted to go there." Do this 4 or 5 times until the rhythm feels natural instead of robotic. Shopping for clothes. Say you walk into a clothing shop and an assistant greets you warmly with, "Hi there, can I help you find anything today?" You might answer, "Yeah, I'm looking for a black jacket." They ask, "What size do you wear?" And you say, "Medium, please." They check and return with, "Here's a medium in black. Want to try it on?" You reply, "Yes, please. Where's the fitting room?" Let's role play this together. I'll be the shop assistant. "Hi there, can I help you find anything today?" You respond with your request. Then I ask your size, and you answer. Then I ask if you'd like to try it on, and you respond politely. Repeat this 3 times, changing the item each round: jeans, a sweater, shoes. At a restaurant. You walk in, and the waiter asks, "Good evening, how many in your party?" You answer, "2, please." They lead you to a table and ask, "Can I start you off with something to drink?" You might say, "I'll have a glass of water," or "I'd like an iced tea." Once you've looked at the menu, they ask, "Ready to order?" And you reply, "Yes, I'll have the grilled chicken with vegetables." If you need more time, say, "Could we have a few more minutes, please?" Quick drill. I'll play the waiter and ask, "Ready to order?" Answer confidently, using the phrase, "I'll have," which is the go-to expression for ordering in English. Try different dishes and drinks each round to train yourself to respond without hesitating. Making an appointment. This could be with a doctor, a salon, or any service. You call and say, "Hi, I'd like to book an appointment with Dr. Smith." The receptionist asks, "Sure, what day and time works for you?" You say, "Tuesday morning, if that's available." If they respond, "We only have 11 a.m. open," you can answer, "That works for me, thank you." Role play, I'll be the receptionist. "Good morning, how can I help you?" You reply that you'd like to book a haircut. I ask when you'd like to come in. You give a time, and I might say only a certain slot is free. You answer, "That's fine, thank you." Repeat with different appointments: dentist, car repair, massage. Small talk at work. You might greet a coworker with, "Morning, how was your weekend?" They answer, "Great, I went hiking. You?" You reply, "I mostly stayed in and watched movies." Practice this with a friendly, casual tone, like you're talking to someone you see every day. Asking for help in a store. You might say, "Excuse me, could you help me find the rice section?" And the staff member replies, "Sure, it's in aisle 5. You answer, "Thank you so much." Practice swapping in different items: cleaning supplies, frozen foods, bakery items. Polite refusals. If someone offers you cake and you don't want any, you can say, "No thank you, I'm full." Or if they offer unnecessary help, "I appreciate it, but I'm okay." Casual chats in public. say you notice a stranger reading and ask, "That looks interesting. What's it about?" They answer, "It's a mystery novel. I love this genre." You add, "I enjoy mysteries too. Do you have a favorite author?" Try this with different objects around you, a phone, a dog, anything, followed by a question. Traveling, the airport. At check-in, staff might say, "Good morning, may I see your passport?" You reply, "Of course, here you go." They ask, "Any bags to check?" And you answer, "Just this one," or "No, just to carry on." Hotel check-in. The receptionist says, "Good afternoon, do you have a reservation?" You reply, "Yes, under the name Johnson." They ask for ID and a card, you hand them over, and they tell you your room number and where the elevator is. You thank them. Making a polite complaint. At a restaurant, you might say, "Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but my soup is cold. Could you warm it up?" The waiter apologizes and takes it back. You reply, "Thanks, I appreciate it." Complaints in English usually start softly with phrases like "excuse me" and "I'm sorry, but," to stay polite. Meeting a group. You could say, "Hey everyone, I'm Natasha. I just joined." Someone replies, "Welcome, where are you from?" You answer, "I'm from Chicago, excited to be here," and add something positive like, "Looking forward to working with you all." Learning English works best when you picture yourself in these real situations, so the phrases start feeling like your own. Think about walking into a small cafe on a Saturday and greeting the barista with, "Morning, I'd like a cappuccino and a blueberry muffin, please." Then finishing with, "Thanks so much, have a great day." Or picture greeting a coworker with, "Hey, how was your weekend?" and adding, "Do you have any plans this week?" to keep the chat going. At a clothing store, you could ask, "Excuse me, could you help me find this shirt in a medium?" and respond to their help with, "Thank you, I really appreciate it." Small, polite phrases like, "That's very kind of you," go a long way in building fluency and connection. At the airport, try, "Good afternoon, I have a reservation under Alex Johnson," and later, "Could you tell me what time boarding starts?" Polite structures like, "Could you please tell me," make you sound composed and professional. Now picture meeting an old friend in the park after a long time apart. "It's so good to see you, how have you been?" And responding with, "I'm really glad to hear that. I've missed catching up with you." Expressing feelings this way adds warmth to your English and helps you sound more genuine. Let's go a bit further and add more detail to your responses instead of keeping things short. Meeting a friend at a cafe, you might say, "It's so great to see you. I've been swamped with work, but I finally took some time off today." This gives your friend more to respond to and helps you practice listening actively. If they share something exciting, you could say, "That's amazing, tell me more," or "I'd love to hear all about it." Meeting someone new at a professional event, instead of the generic, "What do you do?" try, "I'd love to hear about your work. How did you get into this field?" This invites a longer, richer conversation. When someone asks your opinion, say about a movie, you might answer, "I really liked it, especially how the story unfolded. What did you think?" Or, "It was decent, but I felt the ending could have been stronger." And when you want to shift topics smoothly, you can say something like, "Speaking of relaxing, have you seen anything good lately?" This keeps the flow natural instead of abrupt. Now let's dig into some more practical, real-world scenarios. Remember, the goal isn't to memorize word for word, but to get comfortable with the tone and rhythm so you can make these phrases your own. At a grocery store, if you can't find something, you might ask, "Excuse me, could you help me find the bread aisle?" The politeness in "excuse me" and "could you help me" softens the request. If they help you, respond with, "Thanks so much, I appreciate it." At a restaurant, greet the host with, "Good evening, table for two, please?" And when ordering, say, "I'll have the pasta, please, and could I also get a glass of water?" "I'll have" sounds more natural than "I want." When your food arrives, a simple, "Thank you, this looks great," adds warmth. At the airport, hand over documents with, "Here you go," and if you're unsure of your gate, ask, "Could you tell me which gate I need?" During security, acknowledge instructions with something like, "Sure, here it is." Shopping for a different size, you might ask, "Excuse me, do you have this in a medium?" and respond either way with, "Perfect, thank you," or "No worries, thanks for checking." At work, if someone asks your opinion in a meeting, soften your answer with, "In my opinion," or "I think we could." If you disagree, try, "I see your point, but I think we might want to consider another approach." Meeting someone socially, you can keep things going with a follow-up like, "How's your day going so far?" and respond to their answer with something like, "I know what you mean. What's been keeping you busy?" Making plans with a friend, instead of just, "Okay," try, "That sounds great. Are you free this weekend?" and follow up with, "How about we meet at that new cafe downtown?" If you're running late, instead of a plain, "Sorry," try, "I'm really sorry for being late. Traffic was worse than expected. Thanks for waiting." Adding a reason and gratitude makes your apology feel more sincere. And when talking about hobbies, if someone asks what you do in your free time, you might say, "I enjoy reading, especially mysteries. What about you?" Sharing a detail and asking a follow-up question is one of the best ways to keep a conversation alive. Asking directions at a bus station, you might hear, "Excuse me, do you know where the ticket counter is?" and respond, "Yes, it's right over there," or "I'm not sure, but I think it's near the cafe." Keep your answers short, clear, and polite. At a restaurant, you can ask, "Could I see the menu, please?" or "What do you recommend?" and finish with, "Thank you, that sounds delicious." At work, ask a colleague, "Could you give me a hand with this?" or "Do you have a moment to look at this email?" and respond to a request with, "Sure, I'll be right there," or "Of course, give me 5 minutes." Meeting someone socially, you can keep things going with a follow-up like, "How's your day going so far?" and respond to their answer with something like, "I know what you mean. What's been keeping you busy?" Making plans with a friend, instead of just, "Okay," try, "That sounds great. Are you free this weekend?" and follow up with, "How about we meet at that new cafe downtown?" If you're running late, instead of a plain, "Sorry," try, "I'm really sorry for being late. Traffic was worse than expected. Thanks for waiting." Adding a reason and gratitude makes your apology feel more sincere. And when talking about hobbies, if someone asks what you do in your free time, you might say, "I enjoy reading, especially mysteries. What about you?" Sharing a detail and asking a follow-up question is one of the best ways to keep a conversation alive. Talking about the weather, you might say, "It's such a beautiful day," and they reply, "Perfect for a walk," or "I forgot my umbrella." Even at home, you can practice with a roommate. "Could you pass the salt?" or "Want to watch a movie tonight?" And they might answer, "Sure, here you go," or "Yes, I'd love to." The real key to mastering all this is repetition. Don't just read these once. Say them out loud, copy the rhythm, and picture yourself actually in the situation. Notice how native speakers shorten words, like gonna instead of going to, wanna instead of want to. These small shortcuts make your English sound more natural in casual settings. Talking about daily plans, a friend might say, "I'm planning to grab a coffee after work," and you could respond, "Nice, which cafe?" or "Can I join you?" Talking about transportation, you might ask, "How are you getting to the office tomorrow?" and answer, "I'm taking the bus since my car's in the shop." Adding detail like, "It takes about 30 minutes, but it gets crowded in the mornings." Talking about food, instead of "I want pasta," try "I'm in the mood for pasta," or "I'm craving something Italian today." Talking about shopping, if a friend says, "I need to go shopping this weekend," you might ask, "What are you planning to get?" or "Is there a sale going on?" Talking about hobbies, you could say, "I like playing guitar and watching movies," and ask, "Do you play any sports?" or "Have you read any good books lately?" Talking about work, if someone says, "I'm working on a new project," you might respond, "That sounds interesting. What's it about?" or "How's it coming along?" Making plans, if someone says, "Let's meet up this weekend," you could answer, "Sure, what day works?" or add detail like, "How about that cafe near the station? It's quiet and the coffee's great." Restaurants offer endless practice. Greeting the host with, "Hi, how's your day going?" sounds warm and confident. Requesting a table, try, "Could we get a table for two, please?" And when ordering, "I'll have the grilled chicken, please," sounds more natural than a blunt request. If you need to clarify something, ask, "Does this come with bread?" Or, "Is it possible to get this without cheese?" At a coffee shop, when the barista asks what you'd like, try, "I'd like a medium latte with oat milk, please." Or, "Can I get a black coffee and a muffin to go?" At the supermarket, if the cashier asks, "Did you find everything okay?" you could answer, "Yes, thanks. I was looking for almond butter and found it in the last aisle." If you need help, ask, "Excuse me, could you tell me where the cleaning supplies are?" At the pharmacy, you might say, "Hi, I'm looking for something for a sore throat. Any recommendations?" Or simply, "Could you help me find vitamin C tablets?" On public transport, ask, "Excuse me, does the number 5 bus go downtown?" Or, "Do you know what time the next train leaves?" At work, greet a colleague with, "Morning, how's your day starting?" And if you need help, "Could you help me understand this report?" Responding to their help, add, "Thanks, I really appreciate it." Meeting someone new, keep it going with a follow-up like, "Are you from around here?" Every small interaction, ordering food, asking directions, chatting with a cashier, is a mini English lesson if you approach it with curiosity. Picture buying a train ticket. "Good afternoon, I'd like a ticket to Boston for this evening." The clerk asks about seating, you specify, and ask about departure time. You finish with, "Perfect, thank you so much." At a bakery, "Hi, I'd like 2 croissants and a loaf of sourdough, please." And if asked about warming them, "Yes, please, that would be lovely." At an electronics store, "Excuse me, I'm looking for wireless headphones with noise cancellation. Any recommendations?" And follow up with, "Can I try them before buying?" At a local restaurant while traveling, "Do you have any vegetarian options?" And after hearing the choices, "That sounds delicious. Could I get that with a side of garlic bread?" At a hotel, "Good evening, I have a reservation under Alex Parker, and requesting something extra. Could I also ask for a quiet room away from the elevator?" At a bank, "Good morning, I'd like to open a savings account. What do I need?" And, "I have my passport and a utility bill. Can we start now?" At the gym, "Hi, I'm new here. Could you recommend a beginner workout plan?" And specify your goals when asked. On the street, asking a stranger, "Excuse me, does this bus go to the Central Market?" And following up with, "Is it a busy area?" Starting your morning rushed for work but getting a call from a friend, you might answer, "Hey, I'm just heading out. Can I call you back later?" This shows you can keep things short but still friendly. Meeting a colleague in the hallway, "Morning, how's your day starting?" "Pretty good, just a little busy already." Ordering coffee before work. "Hi, can I get a large latte with almond milk?" And responding to a follow-up about sugar with, "No thanks, just the latte." Starting a meeting. "Hi everyone, thanks for making time today. Let's start by reviewing the agenda." At lunch with coworkers. "What's everyone having today?" And responding to their answer with, "That sounds good, maybe I'll join you." Replying to a work email. "Just a quick update, everything's on track and we should be done by tomorrow." Meeting a friend for dinner. "Hey, great to see you. How was your day?" And at the restaurant, "We'll start with the soup of the day, and I'll have the grilled chicken salad." If asked about dressing, "Yes, please, balsamic vinaigrette." Catching up after the meal. "Any plans for the weekend?" And answering, "I'm thinking of relaxing at home, maybe watching a movie." Before leaving, "Thanks for dinner. It was great catching up. Let's do this again soon." Stopping at a convenience store at night. "Hi, can I get a bottle of water and a pack of gum?" And finishing with, "No, that's everything, thanks." Then, "Thanks, have a good night." At the airport, checking in. "Hi, I'm checking in for my flight to New York," and responding to seat preferences, "Aisle seat, please." As we wrap up, remember, learning a language isn't about memorizing lines, it's about building a skill that becomes second nature. Every conversation we covered today was meant to help you handle real situations with confidence, whether you're at work, traveling, shopping, or just catching up with a friend. Go back through each section, repeat the lines out loud, shadow the sentences, and adapt them to your own life. If one of them says, "I'm looking for the nearest bus stop," change it to whatever you're actually looking for: a restaurant, a pharmacy, anything. Fluency comes from repetition. Listen daily, speak the lines out loud, and even record yourself to compare your pronunciation. If a certain conversation feels tricky, slow it down, break it into smaller pieces, and keep practicing until it flows. And one last thing, don't be afraid of mistakes. They're proof you're learning, not signs of failure. Every fluent speaker, including native speakers, made plenty of mistakes along the way. The real mistake is staying silent instead of trying. So the next time you hesitate before starting a conversation, remember that today's practice is here to help you push through that hesitation. Thanks so much for spending this time with me here on Motion English Podcast. If you found this lesson helpful, subscribe so you never miss a new video. We post fresh English lessons every single day to help you build your speaking, listening, and overall communication skills. Give this video a like, share it with a friend who's also learning English, and drop a comment below telling me which conversation was most useful to you, or which situation you'd like us to cover next time. This has been your host here on Motion English Podcast, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself, because every bit of practice brings you closer to speaking English with real confidence. See you next time.